After 5 years of going to doctor after doctor, after 5 years of going to Rav after Rav, they received the news they thought they'd never be able to hear. You're expecting a child. The excitement and the tears of joy followed. And 9 months later, they welcomed their new baby boy into the world. And 8 days after that, he was given the name Chaim. Their little Chaim meant everything to them. He was their precious little boy. And they made sure every single day that he knew that. Flash forward a couple of years and Chaim is already running around the house. At the age of 3, he has an upsharon as he licks the honey off of the letters of the Aleph Beis. And before they knew it, there they were, 2 young parents with their precious little Chaim by the bus stop, about to send him off for the first day of yeshiva. But something was a little bit different today. Chaim was coughing a lot. He was tired. They thought maybe he was just a little bit nervous. But Chaim was their life. They wanted to make sure everything was perfect. So they decided, you know what, Chaim? We'll start yeshiva tomorrow. Let's just go to the doctor to make sure everything is fine. After taking a look at Chaim, the doctor told the parents not to be worried. Maybe a small cold. A few days of rest will have him back on his feet like nothing ever happened. But a week later, Chaim didn't seem any better. In fact, he seemed a little bit worse. He was pale, he was coughing a lot, he was very lethargic. So the parents decided that it was time to go back to the doctor. And when they went back this time, things seemed a little bit more serious. The doctor asked the parents to please wait outside in the waiting room. 20 minutes later, the doctor walked out with a stern look on his face. And he took a seat next to the young, nervous parents. Chaim seems to be suffering from a very rare infection. And the only way to treat this is by putting Chaim in isolation and having him on medication for at least a month. I know this is a lot for you guys to swallow, but right now an ambulance is on the way here to bring Chaim to the hospital. We must begin the treatment immediately. And so Chaim was brought to the hospital and he was put in a room. And no one was able to go into this room besides for the doctors. And there was a phone in the room, and that's how Chaim would communicate with his parents. Every single day, Chaim and his parents would talk on the phone for hours. And Chaim would say, "Abba, when am I coming home? I'm starting to feel a little bit better." And his Abba would say, "Soon, Chaim, soon you'll be home." The weeks felt like years, but finally the day came. The parents head down to the hospital in hopes to pick up their precious little Chaim. A few minutes later, they can see Chaim. And the only thing separating them is a glass door, waiting for it to be opened by a doctor to embrace their Chaim with a big hug. Chaim stood there with a huge smile on his face as the doors began to open. And a few seconds later, the doors open. And as Chaim was about to run into his parents' open arms, the door shuts. The parents were up in arms. Chaim was banging on the glass door, screaming, "Abba, open the door!" But there was nothing they can do. A few minutes later, the doctor came by, and he told the parents, "I'm so sorry. Chaim just isn't ready. He's not strong enough yet. We need him for a little more time." The pain was unbearable for the parents, and it was even worse for Chaim. The father turned his attention towards the glass door, where on the other side stood his little Chaim, in tears. "Chaim," he said, "it's just gonna be a little more time. You'll be all better. We love you." But Chaim picked up his head, and he had an angry look on his face, with tears rolling down his cheek. He turned around and walked back to his room. The next morning, the parents called up Chaim's room yet again. But this time it kept ringing. There was no answer. They hung up, they called the doctor. "Doctor, what's going on? We're trying to reach Chaim. Is he in his room? Did you guys move him?" And the doctor told them, "Chaim's in his room. And I hear the phone ringing, but he's just not answering it. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you." And for the parents that love Chaim so much, this hurt them so much. But every day they would call. and every day they would just hear ringing. And a few weeks passed, and a few months passed, and Chaim still wasn't better. And Chaim was still not answering the phone. It's almost as if he forgot who his parents are and how much they love him. And years have passed. Until this day, Chaim is in that room, not answering the phone. We are all Chaim. We are in this world, waiting for Mashiach, begging Hashem to take us out. And sometimes we get upset. Sometimes we forget how much Hashem really loves us, and we just let the phone ring. And all our Abba wants, all HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, is to hear our voice. What happened in the past, what happened yesterday, doesn't matter. If you're alive today, the phone is ringing. Answer the call.